What's up, guys? Welcome to the Quarantine. I'm your host, Wolf, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Some of you guys may know I've been designing my own board game. It's called Spiral Empires. Now it plays 2 to 6 players, and it takes about an hour and 15 minutes to play per player. So it is a long invested game, somewhere in the terms of like Eclipse and Twilight Imperium. However, everybody that's played it has absolutely loved it. It could definitely use more test playing, not because it's imbalanced, but because it never hurts to keep test playing the game. The last time I test played it, it seemed balanced. Nobody really had any major complaints. There were a few which would change core game elements that I didn't want to change. Basically, people wanted dice combat and I don't, and so on and so forth, stuff like that. And I think the only other big thing that needed to be changed was more movement tokens, which we'll get into. But anyways, if you like what you see, I do have a GoFundMe page, which I'll link in the bottom, and I'll toss, I think it's up here, I'll toss it up there. My goal right now is to try to get to Origins and or Gen Con next year, because from what I've been hearing from people already in the industry, that's probably going to be my best bet to get the game published, because I don't have the $3,000 to $5,000 to pay for an artist and advertising and blah 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 in order to potentially have a successful Kickstarter. So I've been told that I could take a prototype to someplace like Gen Con or Origins and not more than likely, but maybe get somebody to notice it and so on and so forth. So anyways, we'll dive right into the game, shall we?
Alright, this is basically Spiral Empire's setup. However, right here is just set up. I only set one player up, even though the face-up cards that you see here, these are other starting planets where other players would be starting. So the setup that you see here is just going to be for one player. Multiply it by 3. But anyways, each player is going to get 6 frigates. These are my ghetto little ships that I'm using for right now. They work. 6 frigates. They're going to get 2 colony ships. There's 2 frigates on the board and a colony ship on the board. There we go. Each player is going to get 1 space dock, which is, it works right now. You're going to get 1 dreadnought, 2 battleships, and 3 carriers. Each player then is going to get these order tokens. And then they're going to get a pile of control markers. Then they're going to get their own personal research deck. Each player has the same exact research deck. Each player will also be getting a tech tree that'll just explain to you, because these tech cards are going to have the prerequisites down at the bottom. I just totally spaced and forgot to put them on the bottom. So each player is also going to have like a little player mat, I guess you can call it, with something like this as like a player screen. I haven't fully made them up yet. The last ones I had got damaged. But each player is going to get those. I'll have the tech tree up on the screen now. But each player is also going to go ahead and get a hand of 5 combat cards. And then a hand of 6 action cards. Once all the players have chosen their starting location, you're going to remove the card off the board. And then you're going to, the black card, these are system cards. You're going to remove the black card off, and you're going to put your home system there. And you're going to get whatever is your starting system's resources to start with. Green is no longer a thing anymore. I just haven't gotten around to remaking them yet. Yellow or orange, because depending on markers and crayons, yellow and orange is gold. So in this case I get 1 gold. Black or brown is materials. Materials is a generalized term for manpower, fuel, metals, gemstones, just general materials. So I get 1. And then we generate 1 science, because of the blue. At the end of the game, if I still control my home world, it's worth 2 victory points. So then these will go back here. And I'll explain the anatomy of a ship, of one of the ships. So we have, I'll just take my dreadnought. Dreadnought, for example, let's see if this focus. You have the name, just Dreadnought, or Dread. And then in the upper right-hand corner, you have the combat strength, which I'll get to when we get to combat. And that is literally all that's on the ships. Take that off the board. Now, we will go ahead and dive directly into the way a game plays. You build, actually I should probably restate, all the hexes are on the board. You are going to put a black system card face down in. And then you're going to place, each player is going to put one marker on, and these are going to be bigger in the final game, but each player will put one marker on the civil unrest. There's going to be one in these two corners, and then this is the fleet tracker, and there's going to be one in each corner, so that way people on this side of the board have access to one, people on this side of the board have access to one as well. But what this means is whenever we get a civil unrest card, which are these, which I'll explain in a minute, and this is going to be a long, probably going to be a long video, but anyways, here you put it on the start location, which says one political token or VP in combat strength. So I'll get to that when I explain how civil unrest works. And because we control one planet or one system, because these are all going to be systems, not planets, because this is going to be a spiral galaxy. But we control one system, so we put it here, meaning we can have a fleet of 2 and a fleet of 3. Meaning that's number of ships. So this is a fleet of 3 ships. A single ship does not constitute a fleet, and so I can have another ship or another fleet consisting of 2 ships in order for me to stay within my fleet capacity. And this is a variable part of the game. You take 10 of the blue cards, and then you take well, I might as well go ahead and pull it out here. You're going to take 10 of the blue cards and randomly, and you're going to shuffle them all up. And then you're going to take the game end card and then 5 other event cards, and you're going to shuffle those up, those 5, well 6 now, and then you're going to put them on the bottom of the 10, meaning it's going to be a random length game, because there's nothing I hate more than everybody knows it's the last turn of the game and everybody just does a mad dash for points. I've played a game of this with somebody who tried that and they got their shit pushed in. But after you've done all that, the game is actually ready to be played. So, the way the game first starts, the first thing you do every turn is you're going to flip a galactic event card after you've randomly decided who the start player is. And I just realized I forgot to pull my die out of here. There it is. I forgot to pull my die out of here. But anyways, you're going to draw this, and we got to choose one. And it's whoever the first player is the one who makes this decision. Every player loses 2 of every resource, which would really suck for me. Or every player gains 1 of every resource. So you know what? We're going to do gains 1 of every resource. I should probably explain also, and then this would actually be removed from the game, put back in the box. I should also mention that these are political tokens for right now. They're just purple buttons. They are not considered a resource. You can only get these if something specifically says you can get a political token. Then players move on to the action phase. And if you remember, I said you have a combat hand and an action hand. So you're going to take these and put them off to the side for now. You're going to take these. The way these work is each player has the 6 different things they could do. You gather, build, espionage, research, trade, and political. The number is the order that they're executed in, and the way you have the can't remember the word that I'm looking for, but the way the setup of the cards is the top happens to everybody. The bottom is only if you played it. So the way this works is you're going to pick 1 to play. So I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to gather. And then I have to hope, let's say I want to build, but I don't have enough resources. So I will hope that somebody else plays a build. So after everybody's played their card, you're going to reveal it face up. And then you only are going to execute the orders or the actions that were revealed. So I play to gather, so everybody's going to gather first and foremost. Once everybody's gathered, I will then do, on my turn, I will go ahead and do the bottom part as well, so I would gain one additional resource of my choice. So I get one of all three because of my starting system, because that's what I have access to. And then I will go ahead and take an extra material. And then, let's say somebody else also played gather. So, well, we already gathered, so we're not gathering again. But then one person chose, let's say, research. Well, nobody played build, so that sucks. So, now we do research, starting with the player that played the card if only one person did. If more than one person played the card, then you start with the player closest to the first player, and the players who played the card do theirs first, and then everybody else does it. The reason for that is we came across a game where one player played gather, and he was the last person in turn order, and he got screwed out of gathering because of it. So it wound up balancing that out. But so he played research, and again, the research tree is, I'll have it displayed probably up here again, but you're going to spend gold and science equal to whatever you want to research. You're going to pay that and you'll get the research card. So, let's say I research, where is it? These, I recommend keeping these in a specific order, but I forgot to redo them. But anyways, I'm going to research carriers. So, boom. Now, I can start building carriers. So, rather than just being able to build frigates, I can now build my carriers. So that's how the action phase winds up working. Unless you played the research card, as you see here, research may spend appropriate science and money to advance one technology. However, if you played it, same as above, but you may research 2 techs or receive a discount of 1 gold and one science, and one. It says material. It's supposed to say science, but another one of those small typos that I'll wind up fixing before I get to Gen Con if I wind up doing that. But then we move on to the orders phase. Once all the actions have been resolved, you're going to move on to the orders phase. And the way the orders phase works is, starting with the start player, you are going to place 1 token down. Generally, especially late game, if people are just setting them down, but there's any discrepancy, you start 1 at a time in turn order. But the different orders are, you have a move, you have a patrol, which does nothing, you just get a defense. You have support, which allows you to get a resource or a political token of your choice. Then you have colonize / occupy. And then you have supply. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. Support allows you to support an adjacent hex. Supply is the one that allows you to get one of these. I had that backwards. But the way these work is I will go, okay, I'm going to, first and foremost, I will supply. And then he'll place 1, he'll place 1. And then I'm going to move. And you're allowed to play 4 orders total. So then I will play another move, and you don't have to play. You could play your tokens. I could play one over here if I really wanted to. It's not going to activate, however, unless I have a fleet there. When I activate it, nothing's going to happen unless I have a fleet there. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and put an order here, and then the other player will play their order, and then I'll do, say, another order here, and that's it. That's my 4th. So then now, in turn order again, the start player will go, alright, I will do my supply. So, I'll do this, and I'll take a political token. And then the next player will resolve one of their tokens, next player will resolve one of their tokens, then I'll come back and go, okay, I will go ahead and move. I resolve my move order. And the way you resolve a move order is, there's a technology that supersedes what I'm about to explain, but on average, you will move 1 hex. And your fleet does not have to move together. I can split all of them up. So I could go, alright, colony ship and a frigate's going to go here, and then a frigate is going to go here, or vice versa. So I'll actually take the colony ship here. So, whenever you enter an area with face down card, you now have to roll the die. If you roll poorly, you're going to have to draw one of these blue cards. And these are the event. These are also event cards. These are galactic event. These are just event cards. So you're going to roll this, and if you roll a 1 or a 2, then you're going to have to draw one of those cards. So you roll this, and I got a 5. Nothing happened. But let's say, just for the sake of showing you, something did. I rolled a 1. So now I'm going to draw this card, and that's a shitty shitty one to show off. But some of these are really good, like Scientific Discovery. Gain a free tech that you have the requirement for. That is insane late game. I saw somebody get a Dreadnought using this. But, so let's say I got engine room fire. And the way these work is you can vent the room and spend a material, and you'll vent the room, and then nothing happens. You have to resolve one of these 3. One ship is destroyed, your choice, or let it burn itself out. Roll a 7+, because there's supposed to be a D8, or no, a D10 in the box, but I think it fell out. Yeah, because this is supposed to be a D8, not a D6, but either way. Roll 7+, nothing happens. 1 through 6, ship is destroyed. So, the largest ship is destroyed. You resolve this, and then if you still have a ship there, then you will flip it over. Alright, so that's a 2 VP planet. If you control it, if you still have control of it at the end of the game, it'll be worth 2 victory points. It gives us a material, a gold, and a science, if I colonize it. But now we have this one we have to deal with. So, let me go ahead and get a D10. 1 second. No, that is a D6 as well. I grabbed the wrong one. Alright, so I rolled an 8. Cool beans. So nothing happened here. So we go ahead and flip this card. And that is a science planet. It gives us 3. It'll give us 3 science if I colonize it. And it's worth 2 VP at the end of the game. I don't know if you can see that or not. There we go. Let's just zoom it in entirely here. There we go. So there's 3 VP if I colonize it. So now, everybody will resolve theirs. So I'll flip this move token and put it back here. And we will send the frigate here. And we'll leave the colony ship here. So that doesn't get resolved. We roll this. I rolled a 3. So let's just say I rolled a 2. Pirates. Yeah, that's actually the exact one I was hoping. Pirates. The way this works is place this event card in the hex. Fire if your combat strength is 5 or more, which I'm going to explain momentarily. Or you can discard the card. 2, succumb to their demands, lose 1 material, 1 gold, and then discard this card. Or lose 2 ships, retreat to the hex you moved through. So this will just stay right here. But I immediately have to resolve one of those. Let's zoom this back out. I immediately have to resolve one. So, the way combat strength is that number that I showed you, because the combat in this game is deterministic. There is no randomness in the combat. So, there is a 1 combat strength. I obviously don't, I do not have the means to fight them. However, I do have my 4 material and 1 gold. So, I will go ahead and pay 1 gold and 1 material. Put them back in the pile. And then I will go ahead and discard this card. So that goes over here, gets discarded. Now I do need to mention that there are no discard piles. What it means by discard is you put this on the bottom and then you shuffle this. So all of these cards are always going to be available. And then because we resolved the event, this flips over and we have a nebula. So Nebula, combat cards do not add the number to combats in Nebula, and the ships may not move through this hex in a single movement, which is mainly for late game when you have upgraded engines and whatnot. Pardon me. And then the game is going to proceed exactly like that. But let's say we get into a combat. Let's just say, hypothetically, this is an enemy fleet, and they're here, and they advance. You know, say this, I have my fancy new carrier that I researched, and they wind up advancing in on me. The way this works is they have a combat strength here. They have 3 frigates, so in each one with a combat strength of 1, so they have a combat value of 3. I have a frigate and a carrier, which is a 1 and a 2, so I also have a combat strength of 3. Now the way this is going to work is each player here is going to take their combat hand, and you're going to play one. And this adds to your combat strength, so you do have some negatives in here. But then you have X's. And the way combat works is we're both going to pick one of these cards to play. And whoever has the most, so if I reveal this, basic maneuvers, and I reveal it and they reveal something else, and we total up our strength, and I win. That means he has to retreat back to the hex that he came from. He has to get the hell out of there. No ships are destroyed at this point. However, if there's an X on the card, that is an explosion. It's going to have a little graphic or something. But if there's an X, that's an explosion, meaning I can now destroy a ship of his that is one ship that is equal to or less than my combined combat strength. So I have a combat strength of 3. I can destroy a strength 3 ship on his. But if he played something with a shield, he can cancel one explosion. So it winds up being a head game. Do I want to just flat out win and play basic maneuvers? It's a +2. Or do I want to stunt him in hopes that he doesn't hurt me next time and just play a bit kinetic weapons with a +1 and maybe win, but he can also thwart that with a shield. And if you notice, shields generally have lower numbers. So you're going to probably lose the battle, but you're going to stop yourself from losing ships. So that's the way that winds up going. You can upgrade cards and whatnot, but so I pushed him out of there. He didn't, and let's say I played an explosion, and he didn't stop it. So I'm going to blow up one of his ships. Boom, it goes away. I get a victory point from the bag of victory points here. I get a victory point because I was victorious in a battle. You don't have to blow up a ship in order to gain a victory point from it. And I'm sure there's going to be a few rules that I wind up missing. It's not as complicated as it seems. I've taught this to several people. But anyways, you have other cards up here. You have colony cards, which if one of the orders is the colony/occupy, you're going to have to draw one of these cards and deal with it. It's something that happens within the first year of the colony, so unstoppable greenhouse effect, and you have to resolve one of these. And usually it's pay a bunch of resources or something like that, or the colony is lost. And if it is, you wasted a colony ship. But there's a couple other things here, like you have black holes. No, it's a nebula. It's a political planet. You have empty space. Of course, I can't find a black hole. Yeah, black holes, basically, you have to spend material or every turn that something's in there, or you lose the ship. Research cards. I should probably state, whenever you get a research card, you're going to play it in front of you sideways, because you don't get access to it until the cleanup phase, which is at the end of the round. With the same thing goes with, see, you have phase beams. They have a +3 and an explosion, which are really good. Quantum torpedoes, +2 and an explosion. Secret maneuvers, +8. Special maneuvers, +5, stuff like that. So the thing is you can only ever have 5 combat cards total. And when I play that combat card, say this is the one I played this, it's going to stay there, face up in front of me. I don't get access to it until I've played the last card in my hand. So I'm going to have to play the cards that aren't quite as good. But whenever I upgrade, let's say I upgrade to those, where do they go? The improved power. It's only a -1 for a shield now. So I'm going to go ahead and you take this, you remove it from the game, and then now you'll take this and put it back in its place. So you can only have a maximum of 5 combat cards. And I'm sorry if this is all over the place. It's been about a month or so since, or about a month or two since I've actually taught the game. And I'm actually not teaching, I'm just kind of overviewing. And it's going to continue going like that. So next time I get into combat, I got to choose from these. So, okay, I'll play this basic shields because I don't want to lose a ship. Alright, now I have these 3 that I got to play with, and then I'll play this next combat, and then play this, and then next time I'll play this. Once I've played my last one, you'll pick all of them back up. Note, you're not able to research or to get rid of your cards you've already used whenever you research new weapons or shields. You have to use what's in your hand. So it winds up making you have to think more about what you're doing and what cards you're going to play and whatnot. But that's how that works with combat. There's a couple notable things with the game. You have civil unrest. The way civil unrest works is players immediately have to play. This is way too long. I've actually reworked it. But the way it works is for every planet that you control, you're going to have to pay 1 political token for each planet or each system you control. With the exception of if you have a combat strength in that system equal to or more than the victory point cost on that system, then basically you've quenched the rebellion through military might. But regardless of whether you've quelled it or not, you are going to advance on your civil unrest. So the first couple times you get civil unrest, it's not really that big of a deal. But the more civil unrest that comes out, the worse it is. It winds up getting to where you have to pay 3 political tokens for every planet, and then combat strength +1 or +2. So it gradually gets harder and harder. So now you're going to ask, well, how the hell do I get rid of that? Through, what is it? Yeah, through political means. If you play a political card, players may spend 2 political tokens in order to play 1 extra order this round, which is really good. Or, if you played this card, gain 1 political token and choose 1. Draw 3 political cards, choose 1 to execute, or pay the political cost to lower your unrest. And the political cost is based on where you are on the chart, and you'll pay the political cost and you'll move up by 1. Pardon me. The last but not least, the political cards. The way these are going to work is you'll draw 3 of these, and you'll look at one of these and go, okay, and I know this is appeal. It's supposed to say repeal, but I am dumb. So let's see. I'm going to try to put this into play. If it's a law, it's something that's permanent, and you're going to keep it by the board, and it's a permanent thing that changes the rules. So, for example, vote, which I'll get to. Players may not colonize a system until everybody has the same number of systems. This would be a law. The victory points, if I try to put this law into play, and it passes, I get 1 victory point because I passed this law. And so you can win through political means. Immigration. Select 1 other player and vote. If passed, you and that player may place a control marker on 1 system each other controls. You both gather the same resources from this planet. This system is worth no victory points at the end of the game, and you may not use a dry dock, which is a shipyard, on the system. Discard after use. But I would get 2 victory points for passing that. So we're going to try this. And the way this works is your political tokens, these precious, precious political tokens, you will take, this is what the player screens are for, so it's harder to keep track of what everybody has. You're going to take any number of them and you're going to put them in your hand. And then you're going to put your hand out, and once everybody has got their hand out, you're going to give a thumbs up that, yeah, you approve the law. Or a thumbs down. Nope, to hell with that law, I don't want that, it's terrible. Or I don't want you getting the victory points for it. And then what's going to happen is all the naysayers are going to reveal their tokens, and you're going to count up the pool. Alright, so we got 3 tokens for no. Alright, then all the yes, you're going to reveal your tokens, count those up. And if the thumbs up have more, then the law passes, or whatever it is passes. So even like this, it just passes. Because if it says vote, that's when you do that. And then you get the victory points, blah, blah, blah. If it's equal to or less than the thumbs up, then the vote is denied, doesn't go through, nothing happens. They've basically wasted their action. That's basically how you play the game, and then because then you go up to the cleanup phase and you go ahead and remove any tokens that you have, and so on and so forth. You pull them all off and go ahead and get any research cards that you have currently. You go ahead and put them into your combat hand, or you turn them upright to show that you're able to use them now, and that's it. And then you continue playing it. So the game runs between 11. Technically 11 and 16 turns. On the 11th turn or the 16th turn and anywhere in between, the game can just end. Because if, at the beginning of the round, if you flip this card over and it's the red card that says game over, then the game is immediately over. Players tally up their victory points, and highest victory points wins. If I'm not mistaken, ties are broken by number of systems that they control. So let's go back to my final thoughts.
Alright, my final thoughts are Spiral Empires. I mean, of course I'm going to say my game is awesome, but to be completely honest, everybody that's played it has absolutely loved it. There's very little downtime in the game. Everybody's always involved. Combat is really quick because it consists of, alright, how much do you have? How much do I have? Play a card, flip them, this is what happens, it's done, let's move on. Because combat happens immediately. One thing I also failed to mention, combat doesn't happen as soon as you enter into a hex with somebody else. It may. And the way it works is if I enter in a hex that you're in, me being the aggressor, I can say yes or no if I'm attacking you. If I say no, then you as the defender can go, you know, well, I'm attacking you. So that way you can form frail alliances. We can occupy the same space. I can occupy a space that you and your friend are in. 2 people already in there. I go in and go, no, I'm not attacking you. And then clockwise, no, I'm not attacking. Yes, I am attacking. Oh, crap. So now we have to do combat. So that's the way it works. Support. I totally forgot to mention support. The way support works is if I have a support token, I can, and we engage in combat, and I have a support token adjacent to that area, I can reveal it and execute a support, meaning the combat strength in that hex can be added to either side. So it forms, you can form alliances that way of, you know, hey, I'll help you fight this, but I want such and such in return and blah blah blah. So that's what support winds up doing. So it allows you to, even though you're limited to the number of fleets that you're allowed to have, it allows me to have my 3-ship fleet combined with my 2-ship fleet, and now effectively we have a 5-ship fleet that we are flying through the galaxy but it's taking one of my orders, see. Everybody's loved it. Again, it takes like 6 hours to play a 4 or 5 player game. No, 5-player game. But everybody that's played it says that it doesn't feel like a 6-hour game because you're always engaged, you're always doing something. You're always you're sitting there thinking with the action phase, I really need to build, but I don't have the materials to gather. Do I gather and hope somebody else builds? Or do I build and hope somebody else gathers? And it winds up being this big, head game. And it's a lot of fun. I actually can't wait to play again. I have another friend of mine that's been bugging me to play again. So again, if you like what you saw here, I'm going to have the rules also in the description as well. But if you'd like to help me out, maybe trying to get to Origins so I can show it off to some publishers, maybe get somebody to pick it up, I'll have a link to my Patreon up, where is it, up here? Or not Patreon, sorry, my GoFundMe. I'm trying to set up a Patreon as well. I just need to get around to doing that. But anyways, that's Spiral Empires. I hope you guys are excited about it as I have been developing it. It's gone through a hell of a change since it first started, but it's actually a really fun game now. So anyways, if you could like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time in the quarantine.